Hello, everyone, and welcome to English Pod. My name is Marco.
My name is Catherine, and today we've got an upper intermediate level lesson for you all about money.
That's right. We are trading money. We're actually negotiating in this very popular topic nowadays, the whole foreign exchange market.
Okay, so we're talking about currency, which is the money of different countries. For example, the currency of Ecuador is...
the US dollar. Yeah. Hard to believe, but true. I'll tell you all about it later.
Okay. Well, the currency of America is also the US dollar. So with that in mind, let's listen to today's dialogue.
Hey, John. I haven't seen you in ages. What's new? What have you been up to?
Pete, nice to see you. Well, on top of the norm, wife and kids and work, I've actually gotten into doing some trading.
Trading? You, big guy? What are you trading?
Currencies.
Currencies? As in euros, dollars, pounds, and rupees?
It's called Forex, foreign exchange. The great thing about it is that I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
I don't understand. You're buying and selling money?
You got it. Just last night I made $150.
Last night?
Yeah, it's a 24-hour market. I'd bought some renminbi earlier at a low asking price, but last night it appreciated drastically. So I made a split-second decision and sold all of my RMB at an amazing bid. I've also done some trading with Swiss francs and Australian dollars and Hong Kong dollars. I've made some good profits, but I've also suffered some losses. It depends on a lot of factors, just like any other market. In total, I've made about $500 in the past few months.
You're kidding! I'm on. Where do I sign up? All right, we're back. So this guy is trading currencies, as we heard. And, well, we're going to talk about a lot of the specific vocab that he used about this topic. So why don't we take a look at some of those now in Language Takeaway.
Language Takeaway.
Well, the first thing I think we should talk about is one of the first things that he says, actually. Peter says, I haven't seen you in ages.
I haven't seen you in ages, right. So, obviously, he hasn't seen him in a long time, and that's what in ages means.
That's right. So, we haven't seen each other in ages.
Mm-hmm. So, what other ways can we use in ages, or the word ages?
Well, you could actually say, it's been ages.
So that means it's been a long time.
It's been a long time, or we haven't gone out for ages.
Okay, so then you can use it with four ages.
4 ages, in ages. So the key word here is ages, which means a long time.
Long time. Okay. And, well, he hasn't seen him in ages, and the guy's like, well, you know what? I've actually gone into trading.
So that means he started doing some trading.
Right. Now, trading is a very broad word because you can trade, as in this case, currencies, which is basically to buy and sell currencies.
But you could also trade stocks, right?
Mm-hmm. You can trade stocks, or even people that are involved in import-export. They are involved in trading.
Trading. So basically, trading is buying and selling something.
Right. So you're trading. You are exchanging a product for money, or money for a product.
But the difference is you're not actually making any products.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's called trading. You're not really manufacturing anything. You're just exchanging goods and services and money. All right, so that's for trading. Now, moving on, he was explaining how the foreign exchange market works, and he says, I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit, and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
So, Marco, here's the question. What is a margin deposit? Because a deposit is basically money that you invest somewhere or that you pay in.
Right. Well, basically, a margin deposit is like a percentage. So he basically puts in a percentage of what he intends to buy. So, for example, a margin deposit of $1,000 might be $1 or $10.
Okay, so maybe if it's $10, you're talking about a 1% margin.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's what he means by a margin deposit, and that's why he explains that you don't have to have a large amount of money in order to trade in the foreign exchange market. You just put in a margin deposit, and then you can work around that.
Well, it sounds pretty easy, but then he explains some more details about it, and it gets to be a little bit more complicated.
That's right. He explained about how he makes money and how he bought some Chinese renminbi and then he sold it because it appreciated drastically.
So he bought it when it was cheap and he sold it when it was expensive. So the price changed.
Right.
So this kind of price change, when something goes from cheap to expensive, it's called appreciating. Appreciation. So the verb is to appreciate.
It's very different from using it in the sense of you appreciate someone, right? Like, oh, I really appreciate you.
Yeah, no, it's very different. We could say this about most goods or investments. For example, my parents bought a house in 1970, and the value of the house has really appreciated over the last 40 years. So now the value is much, much greater.
And actually, just mentioning it while we're on the topic, to appreciate, as you say, is something becomes more expensive. The opposite, when something becomes cheaper or maybe the value goes down, is to depreciate.
Depreciate. So that D at the beginning means it's going down.
Right. Okay, and moving on to our last word for language takeaway. So when he was talking about selling the Chinese currency, he said that he sold it at an amazing bid.
Okay, let's talk about bid here. B-I-D, bid. What does this mean?
So to bid is to place an offer for something.
Okay, so for example, at an auction, when someone is selling many old objects or some art, I can bid $100.
Right.
And maybe someone doesn't accept my bid. But if they do accept my bid, then I pay for it.
Right. So basically, a bid is just another way of saying an offer. You're offering a certain amount of money for that product or that service. And you see it a lot, for example, on eBay, right?
That's right. So eBay is an auction website, basically. And someone who's selling someone can see many, many bids, and they select the best bid.
Exactly. So that's what a bid is. So that's all we have for language takeaway. Let's move on now to Fluency Builder.
Fluency Builder.
Marco, what have you been up to lately? I never see you.
All right. This is actually a very common sentence. What have you been up to? But most English learners don't really understand what it means.
Well, this is a really interesting point because I say this all the time. This is very native, very colloquial. What have you been up to?
It's almost the same as saying, what's up?
What's up? Or where have you been recently? What have you been doing recently?
Right.
How's your life?
Right. So this part, up to, what have you been up to? It doesn't really say much if you translate it literally. But basically it's, what have you been doing? What have you been spending your time on?
So to be up to means to do something, to do.
Right. And there are many other definitions of up to, but in this case, what have you been up to means that. What have you been doing?
So next time you see a friend you haven't seen in a week or two, you can say, what have you been up to?
All right. And John answers, well, on top of the norm, wife, kids, and work. That phrase right there, on top of the norm.
Well, the norm here means the normal. That means basically normal life. I've been working, I've got my kids, my wife, on top of the norm. Just life is normal.
Right. So the norm are the wife, kids, and work. On top of that, I'm actually gotten into trading, right? So the normal situation, the normal life is wife, kids, and work. And then he's saying, on top of that, I've actually been doing this.
Exactly.
Okay. And now moving on to when he's explaining again the market and the currencies, he talked about an asking price.
Okay, asking price. This is, remember we were talking about bids? We could say that someone has an asking price, which is the price they would like to receive for an object or a service that they are selling. And so, for example, I'm going to sell my desk. My asking price is $100, $100. Maybe you don't want to pay that much, but my asking price is the way that I'm going to start. That's how much I want for it.
Right. So that's your asking price. That's how much you ideally want to sell it for, but you can negotiate. You are willing to accept maybe a lower offer.
Exactly.
Okay. And what is our last phrase?
A split-second decision. This is really, really important. These words go together very often. Split-second and decision.
Okay. So that basically means that you made a very quick decision.
That's right. Split second. Very fast. It's almost like it's less than a second. And so a split second decision means a decision in no time. It's very, very quick.
So we can actually mix split second with other things, right? For example, so maybe you can say he reacted in a split second and avoided the crash.
Okay, so good for him. He reacted quickly enough to avoid the accident.
That's right. So split second, very fast, very quickly. A split second decision, a decision that was made very fast. Okay, so that's all we have for Fluency Builder. Why don't we go back, listen to this dialogue one more time, and we'll be back to talk a little bit more. Hey, John. I haven't seen you in ages. What's new? What have you been up to?
Pete, nice to see you. Well, on top of the norm, wife and kids and work, I've actually gotten into doing some trading.
Trading? You, big guy? What are you trading?
Currencies.
Currencies? As in euros, dollars, pounds, and rupees?
It's called Forex, foreign exchange. The great thing about it is that I don't have to invest a huge amount. I put in a margin deposit and then I can buy and sell up to 100 times that much.
I don't understand. You're buying and selling money?
You got it. Just last night I made $150.
Last night?
Yeah, it's a 24-hour market. I bought some renminbi earlier at a low asking price, but last night it appreciated drastically. So I made a split-second decision and sold all of my RMB at an amazing bid. I've also done some trading with Swiss francs and Australian dollars and Hong Kong dollars. I've made some good profits, but I've also suffered some losses. It depends on a lot of factors, just like any other market. In total, I've made about $500 in the past few months.
You're kidding. I'm on. Where do I sign up?
So, Marco, you have to explain this to me. We're talking about currency today. So every nation has a currency. For example, in the dialogue, we learned that India has rupees.
Pounds are in Britain.
Britain has pounds, and Australia has Australian dollars. America has American dollars. But you just said earlier that Ecuador has American dollars too.
That's right. Actually, Ecuador went through a very difficult economic situation in late 1998, early 1999, where there was hyperinflation. So basically, there was an inflation that was very, very, very large.
So that means that the old currency lost its value very fast.
Exactly. So, for example, if the currency before in Ecuador used to be sucres. So if 10 sucres was $1, all of a sudden it was 50 sucres was $1.
Oh, wow.
So, and it got to the point where goods and services went from 3,000 to $1 to 25,000 to $1.
Oh, okay. So people have bags full of money and it's not really worth anything anymore.
Exactly. So what happened was the central bank couldn't absorb this currency depreciation. They couldn't really regulate prices. Obviously, salaries were about the same, so you have a lot less money comparatively. And so the government decided that there were two options. Either they would follow Argentina's example, what they did a couple of years before, and set a fixed rate. So in Argentina, it's 3 pesos to $1. Or we would just get rid of our currency and just use US dollars.
So that's what they did, right?
They use US dollars, and now if you ever travel to Ecuador, you will use US dollars. The same exact bills that you use in the US are the same exact bills in Ecuador.
So no need to exchange currency.
No need to exchange currency, and that's why I guess there are many factors that people say are a lot better. For example, trading has become a lot less complicated because now you're negotiating in US dollars as in everywhere else in the world. But then other things, as you know, not having a national currency also affect. So there are a lot of things going on, but it's an interesting topic.
Very interesting. Well, so maybe for those of you who are listening, you could tell us about your country and your currency. What do you use? What do you spend money on? And do people buy and trade currencies where you're from?
Exactly. Or maybe you can even enlighten us with the exchange rate. Maybe usually it's a good question to ask, how much is a liter of milk? Or how much is a haircut?
Right, because these are things that everyone needs, so the price doesn't change that much.
Exactly.
Midnight cafe, too many screens, and you still picked a table by the window.
I like the view. The skyline keeps me calm. Also, the Wi-Fi is faster over here. Ready for this paper trading night?
As ready as you can be at 12:03 a.m. Hand me the login. Why is the app already flashing numbers?
That's the bid and the ask dancing. Buyers whisper one price, sellers whisper another. The space in between, the spread, decides how expensive it is to jump in.
Whispering numbers is romantic in a very nerdy way. Which pair do I try first?
UR USD to warm up. Tight spread, fear of surprises. Set a tiny margin deposit. Training wheels, not rocket fuel.
Got it. I'll start microscopic. If it appreciates a little, I'm out. If it dips, I'm out faster.
Sensible. Place your order, breathe, and ignore the temptation to double it because your finger feels brave.
Placed. Oh, green. We celebrate with decaf.
We celebrate with not doing anything dumb for the next 60 seconds.
The barista's wrestling the espresso machine again.
He calls it the dragon.
That was loud.
We're fine. Your chart just hiccuped, not because of caffeine, but because Asia woke up. 24-hour market, remember?
Right. People trade while the city sleeps, snores, and orders late-night fries.
How's your position?
Up a whisper. I'll take it. Closed. I like small, quiet wins.
Same. Never apologize for boring profits.
Explain margin, like I'm a tired human.
You put in a fraction. The platform lets you control more. It feels like power until it doesn't.
So, shoes on a downhill escalator. You move fast even when you stand still.
Exactly. That's why we use stops and drink water.
Speaking of water, whoa, are those real?
They say motion picture use. Prop cash.
Still shocking. For a second, my brain believed we were in a music video.
Your app believed too. The candle just spiked from that headline about European data.
My heart is not a candle. It's a drum. Okay, I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, let the fake money be dramatic. We'll be uninteresting and alive.
Want round two? Maybe USD CHF. This was Frank is good at pretending it's a mountain. Steady until it isn't.
I'll go tiny again.
Place a stop right away. If it slips, you fall one step, not the whole staircase.
Set. Also, random brain fact. Ecuador uses US dollars. Every time I hear that, my eyebrows try to appreciate.
They dollarized after rough inflation. Easier for travelers, complicated for policy.
Green again. I'll take the small. Click. Out.
You're a surgeon tonight. Clean cuts, no speeches.
I'm trying not to narrate, but I am curious. Do you ever mess with rupees or Hong Kong dollars?
On demo, sure. For real, I keep it simple. Too many moving parts turns your brain into static.
Static is loud.
Exactly.
What's that sound?
The cafe's A-frame sign on the patio is wobbling. Wind.
That could have hit someone.
Staff's already lifting it. We're okay. Eyes back to simple decisions.
Okay. I want one split-second drill. You call it, I act.
All right. If your spread widens suddenly,
I close. I'm not donating my sleep to volatility.
if it appreciates faster than it should,
I take profit. No victory lap, just click and breathe.
if your thumb hovers over double,
I put the phone down and drink water.
perfect. That's risk management for actual humans.
Teach me the eBay way.
Same idea. Bids are offers. Ask is the I'd like this much price. The moment they meet, a trade happens.
And if they don't meet?
You wait, or you move on. Waiting is a superpower most people don't train.
Watching the app bolt in place. Did the app just dare me to be reckless?
It's a demo contest. Close positive before the timer, bragging rights only.
I'm in tiny on AUD USD. Spread is thin.
Breathe. Don't chase.
15 seconds. Green dust.
10.
9, 8. I'm out. Click.
Good exit. Your hand steady?
A little electric, but steady.
That's adrenaline doing push-ups. It'll pass.
Weird question. Is money just feelings in a math costume?
On nights like this, yes. Charts are polite excuses for our stomachs.
Then tone matters. The voice in your head.
The voice in your head, the friend at your table, the size on your screen. All of it.
Tonight my rule is small or none.
That rule likes you back.
The prop cash is still floating under chairs. Watching people kick it around reminds me not to chase anything that blows across a floor.
Put that on a poster. If it drifts, let it drift.
Okay, last micro trade, then we go. I'll test HKD, but if the spread yawns, I bail.
Agreed.
Spread is yawning already. No thanks, I'll watch instead.
Sometimes no trade is the best trade you make all night.
My brain is soft-boiled. Walk me through closing rituals.
Easy. Screenshot your notes, rate your decisions from 1 to 5. If you're under 3, you're done for the week.
Brutal honesty, copy. I'm at a clean 4.
Then we walk out with clear heads and boring wins.
Boring wins are the best bedtime stories.
Ready to cash out of the cafe?
One last look at the monitors. They never sleep, but I do.
Same.
Then tonight we choose small, breathe when it spikes, and help the person next to us before we help our ego.
And when life acts like a chart, up, down, sideways, we keep our stop tight and our kindness wide.
Hello, everyone. Welcome again. Today, we are going to talk about money in a way that feels simple, real, and useful for everyday life. The kind of lesson you can carry to the market, to your job, or to the airport when you travel. And I promise to keep the language friendly and clear, so you can follow along with ease and feel proud of your progress by the end. Let's set the scene. Imagine you meet a friend you haven't seen in ages. You catch each other's eyes on a busy street. You smile, you share a quick hug, and you say in a warm voice, "I haven't seen you in ages." And your friend laughs and says, "I know, I've been busy with work and family, just the norm. And on top of the norm, I started learning about trading money. And now you are curious and a little excited, because trading money sounds strange, maybe even scary, but also interesting. So I will talk to you like a friend and a coach at the same time, slowly and clearly, because I want you to understand not only the words, but also the feeling behind the words, and I want you to feel calm and strong. When we say currency, we mean the money of a country, like dollars, euros, pounds, rupees, yuan, yen, or francs. And when people trade currencies, they are buying and selling money itself, not food or clothes or phones, just money. And this activity happens in what many people call the foreign exchange market, or simply Forex. And this market is open all day and all night during the week. It is a 24-hour market, because when one city sleeps, another city wakes up. So prices keep moving from place to place. And some people watch these moves in real time on their phones or laptops. Now, I know that can sound heavy, so let me make it easy with a friendly example. Imagine you have a small online wallet with a bit of money inside, and there is a tool that lets you buy euros when the price is low and sell euros when the price is high. And if the price goes up after you buy, your money can grow, and if the price goes down, you can lose. And that is why we always move with care, with patience, and with a clear head. In trading talk, there are two simple words that help you see the price: asking price and bid. And we can think about it like a street market. The seller has an asking price, the number they want, and the buyer gives a bid, the number they offer. And if the two numbers match or come close, the trade happens. And you can remember this with a quick picture in your mind. The seller asks, the buyer bids. Another pair of clear words is appreciate and depreciate, which simply mean go up and go down. So when a currency appreciates, the price rises. When it depreciates, the price falls. And these words are strong and helpful for daily life too, because the value of a house can appreciate, the price of a used phone can depreciate, and your skills can appreciate when you practice every day with love and focus. Sometimes people trade with a margin deposit, which means they put a small amount of money on the table as a kind of ticket to control a bigger position, like putting down $10 to open a trade that moves like $1,000. And this tool can feel powerful because small moves can make bigger results. But you and I will always remember that power must sit next to respect, because the same tool that can grow your account can also hurt it if you are not ready. So the lesson is simple. Start small, keep records, and protect your sleep and your peace before anything else. Let me paint a small story that you can hear, repeat, and maybe shadow later in your own voice. You meet your friend. You say, "Hey, what have you been up to?" And your friend answers with a soft smile, "On top of the norm, I started currency trading. It sounds big, but I started small. I put a margin deposit. I watched the asking price and the bid, and last night I made a split-second decision because the price appreciated. And I closed the trade, and I made a little profit. Not a lot, but enough to feel encouraged. And tomorrow I will review my notes and learn from my choices." And you nod and feel calm, because this is a human way to grow, one careful step at a time. In this story, we hear friendly phrases you can use in real life. "What have you been up to?" is a natural way to ask how someone has been living. And the norm simply means the normal parts of life, like work, family, and daily duties. And on top of the norm means in addition to the normal things. There is something extra. And that is a useful shape for your English, because you can say, "On top of the norm, I started walking every morning." Or, "On top of the norm, I practice 10 minutes of English at night." And each time you say a line like that, your words feel more natural and more alive. Now, breathe in, sit tall, and say the key words softly in your room, even if your voice is quiet, because a quiet voice is still a brave voice. And small steps become strong steps when you repeat them with care: currency, asking price, bid, appreciate, depreciate, margin deposit, split-second decision, 24-hour market, and the norm, and what have you been up to? Each one of these little blocks makes your English more solid, like bricks in a small house that you are building with your own hands. And I can sense your focus, and I am proud of that focus, and I want you to feel that pride too. Travel can also help these words feel real, because when you visit another country, you use the local currency. And if your wallet has dollars and you want to buy bread in a country that uses euros, you will either change your money at a shop or use a card that changes the money for you. And you will care about the asking price, because a shop may take a fee, and you will want a fair bid from the other side. And you will notice that the price of common things tells you a lot about a place. For example, a liter of milk, a haircut, a bus ticket. And you can use these small prices to compare life in a simple and honest way. Here is another picture to sit with you for a moment. In some places, prices changed very fast. The old money lost value, and it became hard to plan and hard to live. So leaders decided to use a different currency to bring stability, and people began to pay with a new kind of money that felt steady, and business became easier in some ways and harder in others. And we share this story with respect for people who lived through that stress, because money is not only numbers, it is also food, rent, medicine, school, and the hope to save for the future. And when we talk about currency, we are really talking about people and their lives. Let's return to calm language and daily examples, because that is how we grow. When your friend says the market appreciated, you can think the price went up. When your friend says the market depreciated, you can think the price went down. When you see asking price, you think the seller's wish. When you see bid, you think the buyer's offer. When you hear margin deposit, you think a small ticket to control a bigger car, so drive slowly. And when you hear split-second decision, you think very fast choice. And use it for small moments too, like a split-second decision to cross the street when the light turns green, or a split-second decision to close an app and go to bed. I also want you to feel how these words move with time, because the market runs 24 hours a day on weekdays, so people sometimes say, "Last night I made a trade." Because when one city sleeps, another opens its doors. And this can be exciting, but your life comes first. Your sleep, your family, your health, and your learning. So treat markets like a weather report. Watch, learn, and keep your umbrella ready. But do not let a storm pull you out of your routine. And do not let a bright sunny chart make you forget your plan. Now let's build a small stack of friendly sentences you can try this week in real life, and I will keep the grammar very plain so you can feel confident. I changed my currency at the bank. The asking price was high, but I got a better bid online. I made a split-second decision and paid with my card. Yesterday, the euro appreciated. Today, it depreciated a little. I started with a small margin deposit to learn the system. I do this on top of the norm, and I still go to work and take care of my family. I make notes every night, and I sleep on my choices before I make a new one. See how soft and useful those lines are. Each one is like a small weight that helps your language muscles grow without pain. And if a word feels heavy today, it will feel lighter next week, because your brain is amazing, and it learns when you sleep, when you walk, and when you listen with kindness. So keep going and keep it simple. I also want to share a gentle way to study, because many students feel stress when they study money words, and stress can close the door to memory. So try this. Write 5 new words on a small card: currency, bid, asking price, appreciate, depreciate. Then make one simple sentence for each word from your own life. For example, the currency in my country is X. The bid on the used bike was fair. The asking price for the old phone was too high. The price of rice appreciated last month. My energy depreciated after midnight. Then review the card at breakfast and at the end of your day, and read the sentences out loud with slow breaths. Let's also talk about feelings for a moment, because money talks can wake up many feelings: hope, fear, pride, and sometimes regret. And all of those feelings are normal. They are part of being human, and you are allowed to feel them, and you are allowed to learn at your own pace. And when you hear a friend say, "I made $150 last night," you can be happy for them without comparing yourself, because life is not a race, and your English journey is your own beautiful path. When we practice spoken English together, we also practice calm breathing and soft confidence. We say the words slowly. We move our shoulders. We smile. And we let the meaning land. And that is how we learn to speak in a way that other people can trust. Because clear language is kind language. And kind language is strong language. And strong language does not need big or difficult words. It needs simple words with honest feeling. If you work in a shop, you might use asking price and bid every day. If you run a small business, you might watch the price of supplies appreciate or depreciate during the season. If you send money to family in another country, you might see the exchange rate change at night because the market is open somewhere far away. And if you do a little trading with a margin deposit, remember to use a journal. Write down your split-second decision and the reason for it. Then read it the next day with a calm mind, and you will learn from wins and losses without drama. Now, listen to a tiny story that will sit gently in your memory and help you remember our words. One evening, a young parent finished washing the dishes, put the kids to bed, and opened a simple trading app. They saw the price of a currency appreciate after a piece of news. Their hand felt warm, their heart beat fast, and they made a split-second decision to close a small trade. They earned a little profit, just enough to buy fresh bread for the week. But more important than the profit was the lesson. They learned to move with care, to write notes, and to protect their sleep. That is the spirit I want for you. Steady, warm, and brave. The spirit that helps you use these words in a real and useful way. In a shop, at the bank, in a cafe, in a message to a friend, or at your desk after a long day. Because life is not about big speeches. Life is about small, clear lines that help people understand each other. And every time you say a line clearly, you build trust, and trust is worth more than any currency. Take this lesson into your day, and keep your steps small and steady. Speak these words at breakfast, in the car, or on a walk, and feel your English appreciate. Feel your fear depreciate. Hold your values like a firm bid for a good life. And when the world gives you an asking price that is too high for your peace, you can say no with a quiet smile and wait for a fair offer. And that is also language, the language of choice, the language of care, and I am proud of you for learning it. Thank you for being here, for showing up with your full heart, and for listening until the end. I hope you feel a little taller inside. I hope the words sit softly in your memory, and I hope you keep practicing in a friendly way, because your growth is real and your voice matters, and we will keep building together, one